Oh, hey, man, that is the best intro music ever. I'm rocking to it. I'm so excited to be here. Welcome to another episode of Keeping Up with E-Commerce. This is a live, unscripted conversation with thought leaders, brands, and experts about commerce-led experiences. I'm your host, Dan Gingiss. I'm a customer experience speaker and coach. I couldn't be happier to be here today. We're going to keep the momentum going from our amazing first episode with episode 2 by looking into the evolution of direct-to-consumer or D2C and how it's transforming the world of e-commerce. Of course, most importantly, the show is brought to you by our friends at SAP Upscale Commerce. Let's get ready to dive in. I have 3 amazing guests today. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, but you're in for a real treat today. My first guest is Kunle Campbell. He is a direct-to-consumer e-commerce advisor and host of the 2X e-commerce podcast. Kunle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dan, for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So basically, I coach ambitious retail teams, focused on unlocking growth in their businesses, whether it's through acquisition, TLV, or just UX optimization. I'm also the host of 2X e-commerce, as you alluded to earlier, and I've interviewed over 250 e-commerce leaders, most of which are in the D2C space.
Outstanding. Well, I'm sure you've gained a lot of knowledge from that, and I'm very excited for you to drop some knowledge bombs on us today during the conversation. Alex Stickleberger, you are the Digital Transformation and CX Specialist at Born Group. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dan.
Tell us a little bit about you and Born Group.
Yeah, I have almost 2 decades of experience in customer experience and e-commerce initiatives. And it all started with me with SAP CRM for internet sales, which is a long time ago. And a lot of things changed since then. But I like the environment we are in with constant changes. And we as Born Group help transform businesses, be agile, and create amazing customer experiences. And we do this in combining creative content and commerce to create purpose-driven experience for customers. And with this help, brands thrive in the digital economy. And doing so, we're defining customer experience and looking more holistically. Again, combining factors from a brand experience perspective, from a behavior experience, and then what we call the book of records, like the base, the platform. And that's what we do at Born and helping customers achieve their goals, and happy to be here.
Outstanding. Well, we're very happy that you're here as well, Alex. Javier Flores is a CX advisor for consumer products at SAP. Javier, welcome to the show as well.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I have been with SAP for almost 25 years. Most of the time working with consumer product companies from the sales and distribution. Then when the first CRMs came into play, I worked on that, and then I have been living the customer experience journey since the early beginning. And basically what I do today is I work with companies, helping on their strategies on how to evolve, to the new market requirements.
So I'm just doing the math real quick here, Javier. You've been there 25 years. They hired you when you were 10? Is that right?
Yeah, actually it was 11. Yeah.
Okay, I was close. Yeah. I forgot to carry the 1. All right, outstanding. Well, what a great group today. And I think this is such an interesting topic, direct to consumer. It seems like just yesterday we were all wowed by that viral video from Dollar Shave Club, which wanted to disrupt the shaving razor industry by allowing people to order razors online and have them delivered to their home for a whole lot less money than going to the store. Now it seems like you can buy a subscription to almost anything. I've seen subscriptions for Bacon of the Month Club. I've seen subscriptions for Jerky of the Month Club. I've even seen subscriptions where you can get a new car every month if you want. That's not a cheap one, by the way. But you can drive a car for a month, return it, get another one for the next month. Amazing. We can subscribe to almost anything. Kunle, talk to me a little bit about this trend. Why is it happening, and why are so many companies jumping aboard the D2C train?
Fantastic question, Dan. I think it's down to 3 pillars. One is control. The other is data. That's end-to-end visibility of data. And the third is customer experience. So when we talk about control, we're talking about brand image, control of your brand image, control of your brand message and control of your brand story. Then below that, you have control of your distribution, your supply chain, your entire supply chain, especially vertically integrated, companies. You look at Harry's, for instance. Speaking of, shaving, companies, they acquired facilities they acquired an entire, factory out in Germany to just get that prowess in supply chain. And then you're also talking about, from a control standpoint, customer data, which leads on to the whole data, pillar. But really, it's to just leverage that control towards controlling your branding strategy and also your supply chain for more data, so you could further optimize quickly. Because traditionally, with indirect channels, you tended to be fed information by whatever your distributors or your channels provided you. But now brands want to take that much control. So you'd see for established brands, they're etching towards, once you're doing it well, are etching towards a 30-40% in direct sales, with a goal in the next decade to hit like 50%. And for the digital native brands, they're like 70%, 80, some 100. And if they're not acquired, they're looking at retail to further control the just the customer journey. So you look at Warby Parker, for instance. They're established direct to consumer. Eventually had to run stores to further take on that direct one-to-one D2C experience. Now, in terms of data and end-to-end visibility, there's so much insight, so many insights. Brands are just opening their eyes to see from just view content through to how people are adding items to carts, how long they're spending on your site, where they're coming from, cities. I remember I was working with a digital native company in the UK. They started out online, and off the back of their customer data, they were able to decide where to launch their first store, their first showroom type store, because you're getting geo data, so many data points to sort of have direct access to and take agile, just control moves really. And then the third really is customer experience, which is that full ownership of the customer journey, and just understanding what products have sold, how they're selling, why, getting that, why in the customer experience, just controlling their customer experience both digitally and offline. And I think that is the major thrust to D2C. One other thing is for the startups, it is just really being challenger brands to the established incumbent. And with the advent of social media, there's been this access directly to speak with customers. And it's just changed the whole game in the last decade or so.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because when I first started in social media as a marketer, the thing that stuck out to me immediately, was that social media is the first and only marketing channel where people can talk back to you. And a lot of brands initially were very afraid of that, because, man, when customers got a voice, they were not afraid to use it. But you're absolutely right that it does give us the opportunity. All the things that you were saying, I was thinking about the fact that all of them involve getting closer to the customer, whether it's getting rid of the middleman so that you distribute directly, or it's going to social media so that you can talk directly to your consumer. It's getting the companies closer to that consumer, which then, of course, gives you more information about what it is they want and how they want it delivered. Alex, Kunle, give us a great overview there. Anything to add in terms of why is this such a big trend?
I mean, I think one really important trend that was mentioned is just to understand the customer and get a 360-degree view of where your customers are and where they would be in the next step. So this could be one step of the evolution process of going to direct to consumers. And I see big challenges here. If you're a startup, for example, like the Dollar Shave Club, or I really there's an eco-friendly cleaner product company out there that ships you bottles and you just get a tap of and fill it up with water. So a really challenger of the cleaning product market. So for them, I see it easier to create a new direct-to-consumer channel and get things moving here and use social media. But we are working with a lot of customers that have existing sales channels and also want to go direct to consumers, and they have to be careful that there is no conflict with their existing sales channels. And I worked with a big German car manufacturer that are based on seller locations, but they wanted to understand their customer with the reasons just mentioned before. So it was difficult to set up a system direct to consumers, but we helped them and worked out a solution, also then a commission and payment solution to work still with dealerships in this case. So again, you have to think about your business model, you have to think about the channels, and it's not always about like increasing sales and open up a new direct to consumer channel. It's just the whole transformation process in general, and how to communicate with the customer, how to create extra value, how to find a sweet spot that they're accepting the offer that you give them directly. So there are a lot of things, and there are a lot of examples out there where companies doing it quite good and challenge other brands as well.
Absolutely. We're going to get to some examples in a minute. I think the key there that I'm hearing from you, Alex, is it's about being where your customers are. And sometimes that involves expanding to a different channel. And yes, you might have some salespeople that get a little bit upset because they think you're taking away business. But the reality is we're trying to expand the pie, and we're trying to get to customers where they are, because we never want to turn down a customer that wants to do business with us. It's like when I was in the credit card industry, and some merchants didn't accept the credit card that I worked for. And we would talk to them and we'd say, why do you want to tell somebody they can't pay you, right? You want to be doing everything you can to make it so that somebody can pay you. I think very similarly here, we need to be where our customers are so that we can get our products in their hands. Javier, I know that you've spent a lot of time with SAP working on a number of implementations. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what are the key components to a successful direct-to-consumer program, should a company be watching right now that's thinking about it?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, happy to do so. Basically, I think it's like around 7 key strategic points that they need to consider. One is, first, they need to define why they want to go direct to consumer. Not just because everybody's doing it, right? That wasn't a good excuse when I was a kid. Like, everybody's doing it, right? So you need to define exactly why you want to do it. Maybe, you are looking for an additional revenue stream. You are looking to increase customer reach, to introduce a new product line or services, to collect first-party data. To have consumer insights, to drive brand awareness. You need to define, what is the value proposition, and you need to share that value proposition across the organization so the expectations are really, really clear. And then you need to define what is your value proposition for the customer. Why will they want to buy directly from you? Is because you have a unique product? Is because of price? Is a better product? Is convenience? Is trust? Social responsibility? You need to define this value proposition. And then third, you need to define how are you going to be sharing this value proposition to the subset of consumers that care about it, right? So, driving this kind of customer acquisition. Normally CP brands are not really good into that, so they need to invest a lot in this customer acquisition. Then they need to have a really great web experience. It has to be simple, engaging, personalized, relevant, so that the people really are going to be engaged and they would like to buy from you. Also, they need to have a flawless execution. Normally, consumers, they don't give you a second chance. So if you miss it once, you just miss it. So, you need to be really, really careful about your execution. So if you promise something, you need to deliver that. Also, you need to take the opportunity to get customer feedback, right? So about your process, about your product, so about the channel, so that you can learn from that. I think that's also super important. And then also a challenge that I see in some companies is that transition between the customer acquisition to build long-term relations. Sometimes companies are really good, just getting the customer acquisition, but they are not that good basically on building the long-term relation to expand the customer lifetime value. And I just an additional recommendation is I mean, they don't have to start from scratch. I mean, many companies, they have already some competitive advantage. It can be distribution, it can be brand awareness. So, I mean, just capitalize on those competitive advantages so that they can help you execute better on that direct to consumer. Yeah.
I know you didn't want to say this, but as you were talking, I kept thinking this is why companies need something like SAP Upscale Commerce, because there's so many moving parts. And to your point, it does have to be almost perfect, right? Because customers don't have a lot of patience for mistakes. They'll maybe let you have one, but if it continues to be a bad experience, they're out. They're going to look for somebody else. We've already mentioned 2 different shaving direct-to-consumer products today. And, if you're unhappy with one, you can move to the other. And that's a reality of business today. So I do think that's a great point, Javier, that there's a lot of detail here. And it's got to flow really well. It's got to be consistent. And then also, I would add to it that as a consumer of a number of these products, it always helps when there's a little bit of a surprise, a little bit something that's different, maybe that you didn't expect one month, because you can get into the good news is you get into the habit of receiving a package every month. The bad news is that over a number of months, that gets a little dull, a little boring, and maybe you start to question whether you really need it. And so I do think it's important to keep the programs exciting as well. And that's just part of the overall experience. Okay, we're going to move to
maybe just to add one more comment here, because like adding another channel, what we see here and what you just mentioned here, the experience has to be consistent. So it's still one of the channel direct to consumer, and I'm still going into a brick and mortar store. So it's even more important to connect the dots here, not create another silo with data and the language a brand is talking to me. So what we see is important to have profiles, to have identities, and to have also consent from these customers, and combine this with a direct to consumer experience. Because again, I'm going to walk into a store, I'm going to order somewhere else, and I want to have a similar experience. So what we see implementing these solutions is really important, to have a customer data platform or tools like this to be able to combine these dots and serve the customers where they are coming from.
Yeah, that's a great addition. Thank you. All right, I want to talk quickly now about some examples. Let's name some names. What are some companies that are doing D2C really well that we might be able to learn from? Now, I have an example as well, but I'm going to have you guys go first. Let's go back to Kunle. Tell us about a company either you're a customer of or just one that you really admire that's doing direct to consumer really well.
Can I give three examples? And I give my
you sure can, just quickly.
You gave me one, I asked for three. Nike. Nike, without a doubt. Go back to 2010, the direct to consumer sales were 13% of total sales. Obviously with COVID, it's 33% now today. So their target for this year was for 2023 was 30%. They think they could do 50% in the next 5 years. So and the way they're doing it is more omni-channel experiences. So they have about 4 major apps. They have an e-commerce app, they have a running app, they have a sneakerhead app, and they have an in-store type experience app. And they just integrate all of those mobile experiences with commerce. So and then they chip in their brand, their products as people tend to use their brand. So I think they're worth they're noteworthy. The second will be Heinz. So Heinz to home, there was this time last year, the pandemic go into full force in the UK, and it took them 3 weeks to go direct to consumer. They put up a website. Actually, a friend of mine owns an agency that helped them, put the website out, and they were bundling. So obviously, a pack of baked beans is 80 cents, ATP. So what they did was they were putting 30-pound bundles of really useful, products of theirs, of Kraft, Heinz, to sell directly to consumers, either from a subscription basis or a one-off, and that really helped sort of ease the strain in supermarkets, because everybody was trying to get into supermarkets, and these packages were coming direct to consumer. They did say they didn't make money off the back of it. It was a data collection exercise. My third will be, I'll just throw it out there. Tesla. They just do it perfectly. You don't need any sales distribution. They do everything on site, and that's it. These are my three examples.
It would not be an innovation discussion without Tesla. So thank you for those examples. Alex, how about you?
Okay, then I also give three examples. Great. So we worked, one company we worked with is Delta Faucet, for example. No digital channel, just from retail stores. We help them getting into the digital age and going directly to consumer. It's a good example of how not to conflict with a traditional sales channel, find a sweet spot and sell online. A second one is from Nestle, where we help them develop called Just Right personal dog food sites, where you can customize your dog food for your dog, for the weight and the exercise the dog is doing, and get it directly shipped to you. It's a nice example. And the last one, everyone loves Oreo cookies, and we help the brand customizing their experience and getting directly to the consumers. So now you can buy a Lady Gaga collection. You can customize your cookie with the cream colors, sprinkles, pictures, include texts on the cookies, and get it shipped to you with the traditional Oreos everyone loves. So we help them just find a sweet spot for the customers that they want something else, something specific, order them again on a subscription base maybe, but just pique their interest and work with them. And this was a nice way of getting out of the traditional grocery store market and shipping directly to the consumers, and again, understand them and communicate with them. You can check it out on Oreo.com. And yeah, these were my three examples.
And see, this is why you're so good, Alex. I don't know if anyone else noticed this. Did you notice he was talking about Oreos and he said that they hit the sweet spot? That was great. All right, Javier, how about you?
Yeah, I think my favorite basic, I think, is Nespresso. I mean, Nespresso was kind of the first that were directly to consumer. They actually created a category, like they find a need and then they created the machines and they created the category, and they went live globally. I mean, it's available globally like forever, right? So I think that's kind of those guys for me is like they were like forward thinking. And the challenge is now there are many different companies that are offering similar things, and they need to keep innovating in order to be top of mind. But having this, I mean, from the machines and all the services those machines require, and then, I mean, the capsules and everything. So I think that's a really great value proposition of a company that find a customer how a consumer can benefit from something, and it can go into a huge effort in order to provide that.
And they recycle the capsules too, which I think is so great. People that are environmentally concerned have an easy way to return the capsules, which I think is so smart. That's a great example too, because their in-store experience, I had a chance to go to an Nespresso store in London, and going in there and sitting down and being able to taste the different coffees is a really cool experience as well. And so they've really got that omni-channel thing down. If you could go in person, it's wonderful. And if you order from home, it's also great. I'm going to throw in one more that maybe you guys haven't heard of. It's fairly new. It's called Care of Vitamins. And what's really cool about this is you go onto their website, you take a survey about your health and things that you're interested in. It's not asking you real private questions. It's just saying, do you like to exercise? Do you have any heart issues? Do you, how's your memory? All these sort of things. And then it recommends for you a personalized set of daily vitamins. And when you order them, I'm going to even show you a prop here. They come in this really cool box, And each set of vitamins is individually packaged in a compostable package, and you can see on it, it is personalized with my name on it, and with like a little quote of the day. And this is a pack of vitamins that was specifically for me based on my feedback in the survey. I can go in anytime and retake the survey, or maybe I chose not to have one of the vitamins that they suggested, and I want to go back and add it. It's a really, really cool company. And, you know, obviously people ask the question, well, do vitamins really work? I don't know, but I feel a whole lot of I would take these. So, they feel like they were designed for me. Anyway, guys, we could go on for so much longer. I love all of those examples. Really, really fantastic. Thank you so much for your insights today. I think this is a really, really cool topic. And for all those that are out there, think about how your company can get closer to the consumer and see if there is an opportunity for a direct-to-consumer play. Just 5 or 6 years ago, nobody was thinking about ordering razors or Oreo cookies or Teslas online and having them delivered to their home. And now you can do all of those things. So in your business too, there is likely an opportunity. Thanks again for everyone in the audience for joining us today, and for our 3 special guests. Really appreciate you. If you'd like to dig deeper into this topic or learn more about SAP Upscale Commerce, check out the chat links for additional resources, or go to sap.com/upscale commerce. That's sap.com/upscale commerce. I'm Dan Gingiss, customer experience speaker and coach. This has been another episode of Keeping Up with E-Commerce. We'll see you next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you.